My name's Claire McAnallen and I look after the business development for Tide Construction and Vision Modular Systems. I suppose just to briefly explain for those who don't know who Tide and Vision are, Tide is our development and contracting business that specialises in modular construction. Everything that Tide does is delivered with our 3D volumetric manufacturing company, Vision Modular Systems. And the two companies operate a vertically integrated procurement route. I suppose if you broke the business development down into two key functions, I suppose the first part is in relation to the sale of our assets to institutional investors. So we deal with a lot of global institutional investors. We go through a very thorough due diligence process when we're selling their assets. So I would coordinate that from kind of the start of the deal, and then when we're handing over the assets and practically completing the building with employers' agents, I would help coordinate that as well. So that's probably the first function and probably the most important. And then the second function of my role is obviously the modular industry is gaining a lot of momentum right now, and rightly so, for the many benefits that you will get from a MMC delivery, if you like. So we're working with a lot of industry stakeholders at the minute. We're doing a lot of work around kind of I suppose with government, with key industry stakeholders. I suppose there's a lot of developers and investors want to invest in modular and they need to know a bit more why. So we do a lot of presentations, site visit and factory tours. So I guess my role is primarily broken into, if you want to summarise it, into those two key functions of asset sale and then I suppose modular industry and kind of generation of interest in the industry. So I think the work that we've done, particularly in George Street, now known as 10 Degrees, which was our first building in Croydon, it's an exemplar in many ways, not just for volumetric modular, which of course it is, but just in terms of it really showcases and demonstrates what can be delivered when you've got a number of different parties that come together with a common goal to deliver better quality housing faster and more sustainably. And so our journey in Croydon started probably, I think, April-May 2017, where we submitted a planning application to the London Borough of Croydon. We went through a very diligent kind of planning process, as you would, but it was a very efficient process, and we received planning, I think, within about 8 or 9 months, which was very efficient. And we always commend the borough for their their diligence and their hard work in that aspect. As soon as we receive planning, we start on site, and I think that the London Borough of Croydon really kind of appreciated the many benefits that would come with delivering housing with our system. So, as I said, we started on site as soon as we got planning, and then when you have an innovative method of construction, we delivered the building and all the wonderful amenities within about a 26-month construction programme. So that's 546 homes in 10 Degrees, and then as you know now, you've quite a lot of community amenity. You've got the cafes, there's a new restaurant opening, and then for the residents inside you have the common dining area, the Sky Lounge, the gym, the pet spa. So it is a really high quality building, and it really has regenerated that particular site in East Croydon. And not forgetting then, so we had a proactive borough, we had an innovative method of construction, but then our investors in Greystar and Henderson Park, who were fully committed to purchasing and investing in George Street, they obviously then benefited from a much quicker programme, much earlier returns, and I think when you see all that coming together, within the 26-month construction programme, 8 or 9 months worth of planning, you can really see what can be delivered when parties come together to, as I said, to deliver better quality housing in a faster, more sustainable way. We're continuing that kind of successful partnership, if you like, and we're delivering another scheme within Croydon, which will be hopefully completed next year. Yeah, okay, so that's a really good question. I suppose there's a lot of different facets to our sustainable delivery and our ESG, so I'll try and condense it all as best I can. But look, in terms of what Tide Construction and Vision Modular do, ESG is kind of in the DNA of our business. I suppose just to take us back a step, the reason why we invested in Vision Modular Systems and why our chairman and CEO delivered the system was that we appreciated the shortcomings in traditional construction in terms of, there was a sustainability crisis at the time. And this, I mean, I'm going back 20 years. We've been doing off-site or modular construction in some shape or form. But, there was a quality crisis, there was a skills crisis, there was a housing shortage, and of course then there was the climate crisis. So the system was established to address all those shortcomings. And so the ESG directive within our company does come from, our chairman and our CEO continually wanting to push the boundaries of what we're doing in terms of, innovation, sustainability, quality, design. So looking at the environmental aspect. So typically we would reduce construction waste on our sites by about 80%. And that's purely because, about 80% of our buildings are manufactured off-site. And so the waste then in our factories is a lot easier to control, and we're able to recycle probably about 97% of any waste that we produce in the factory. So that's huge. The other side of it then is in terms of vehicle movements to site. Again, typically we will reduce vehicle movements to site by the pure fact that the modules arrive fully fitted out with bathrooms, kitchens all pre-installed. I think in George Street we actually reduced vehicle movements by about 86%. Again then, because of the modular methodology, we've less people on our sites. In George Street, 10 degrees, we reduced the amount of people by about 62.5%. But I suppose the most compelling bit of research or evidence that we now have is we recently commissioned a report by academics from the University of Cambridge and Edinburgh Napier University, and what we wanted to quantify was the embodied carbon used to deliver 10 degrees. And I suppose just to remind everyone, 10 degrees is a 44 and a 38 story building, delivering 546 new homes with a huge range of amenity. And so this research has illustrated and demonstrated that our embodied carbon rate of just over about 700 kilograms of embodied carbon per metre squared was, I think, about 50% less than what the REBA and LETI benchmark was at that time for embodied carbon. So that was huge. We then did a comparison to kind of the ORC notional core, which is effectively traditional construction, and I think we had reduced embodied carbon there by about 41%. So again, that's important. But what we think is more important now is REBA and LETI are setting benchmarks now for 2025 and 2030, and George Street is already delivering those benchmarks for 2025, and we're very close to having hit the 2030 benchmark for embodied carbon. So we've demonstrated through this academic research, and we've other academic reports that shows typically we're reducing embodied carbon by about 40 to 45%. And more importantly, we're already hitting those REBA and LETI benchmarks, which is super important if we want to decarbonise construction. It's just worth noting that, globally the construction industry is liable for 39% of the world's global carbon emissions. So whatever we can do to reduce, the embodied carbon, which is the carbon that goes into building these assets, which are much needed because we have a housing crisis, then we are demonstrating that we can help to decarbonise construction. And look, I feel like we're always kind of articulating the benefits of modular construction and indeed what we're doing. And I think that, the benefits are really well documented, but, let's just be clear that the momentum now in MMC, modern methods of construction, and indeed volumetric modular, this is global momentum now. So it's not just specific to London. We're working with we're speaking to kind of a lot of different parties from across the globe. Our chairman was in Texas earlier this year at the World of Modular conference, whereby we received an award for innovation. We were in Barcelona earlier this year with the Modular Building Institute, again at another conference. I'm currently here in Chicago for the Council on Tall Building and Urban Habitat Awards and Conference, which is a hugely prestigious kind of conference, and there's a global momentum in modular construction because of all the benefits that it brings. And we know that the construction issues we're facing in London and the UK, they're global as well, in terms of, again, we mentioned it before, climate crisis, skills shortage, housing shortage. We've got rapid urbanisation across the globe, so the benefits aren't specific to London, but obviously we've a huge track record and we've demonstrated kind of what we can deliver in London. And again, I suppose to summarise those programmes, a big thing. We can reduce construction programmes from 40 to 50%, but also you get programme certainty because we're less susceptible to a lot of external factors. And the other thing then, from an investor's point of view, it's better for your internal rate of return and your cost of finance. So programme in itself has a lot of kind of sub-benefits, if you like. Sustainability, I think we've gone into in quite a lot of detail, but that can't be undermined. Like that's hugely important and probably one of the key drivers of our business right now. Embodied carbon, operational carbon, the waste, the logistics, less people on sites. Quality then, quality is hugely important, and the fact that we are delivering housing through a kind of a manufacturing discipline, it means that when we hand over our assets and these homes to the residents, there's a lot less defects, and it just means it's a much more smoother handover process. So that's important. And then safety, we're removing a lot of high risk activities. As you know, in Croydon, we're building 40, 50 story buildings, and we're removing a lot of those high risk activities from the site into the safety of the factory floor. So look, the benefits, there are quite a lot. I mentioned the efficiencies earlier. Just if you take, for example, the fact that the modules move to each of the manufacturing station, like the efficiencies that come with that. But look, I suppose if you were to summarise them, it would be, your programme, your sustainability, your quality and your safety.